Bob Belford, Daniel Berlin, and Michael Bauer. You'll be doing speaking, but smile, guys.
Okay, well, here they are. Shall I start?
Please.
Okay, thank you, Freddie. This is my first time ever talking to a group of people like this. I'm a chemist at UALR. Michael is a bioinformatician at UAMS, and Dan Brilliant's in the Department of Information Science. And in 2009, we got an NSDL grant to create a wiki hyperglossary portal to the chemical education portal of the National Science Digital Library, which has been run by the American Chemical Society since then, and they've let it fall apart. And we're actually going to be moving it over to the STEM Wiki, and the lead PI of this project will be down here tomorrow from UC Davis. He happens to be teaching classes right now. And how many of you are familiar with the knowledge deficit? I love this statement. Okay, since I moved, all right. In 1861, the North fought the South. Boy, I don't know how to spell, do I? In 1861, the North fought the South. The implicit text is more important often than the written text in writing. And if you weren't familiar with American history, you would need to understand the stuff in Green to understand this. But if I was writing this to somebody who was familiar with American history, I would only write the stuff in black. And one of the challenges today is that we have instant access to expert documents for which we lack the implicit knowledge to understand, with the consequence that we browse off to find other documents until we find one that's written at our level, which by definition is not at the expert level because we're a novice in the material in our digital knowledge space. And the question is there an alternative to search engines? And I can see my slides unformatted when they moved over here. And so one of our things is I work with IUPAC, the International Union of Pure and Applied Chemists, and we're responsible for chemical nomenclature. And so like the text of the word methane here, or an inchy string, which is a nomenclature that can be read by machines and computers. And can we use the text to connect to resources of learned societies and offer an alternative to search engines? And here we have a parsing. I'm very short on time, as everyone knows. And so what I did is I made a quick, whoops.
Oh, you want to open that?
Yeah, I want to open that.
I can open that. Oops, all right. It's already open anyway.
Okay.
Make it full
Sure.
screen for you.
And turn on the volume.
Oh. For some reason, okay, if you talk, I'll have a look at this.
Okay, this is a quick 2-minute video that I created during the when the government had it shut down. So there's a few.
It introducing me to
cheminformatics.
So I have a web page, and I want to get some further information on this web page. So what I can do is I have two options. Greetings. We're going to go over several aspects of the wiki hyperglossary here, as with respect to it introducing me to.
Sorry, wrong screen, everybody.
Belford.
Yeah.
Belford.
It just it was in presenter mode, so it didn't want to move. There we go.
Okay.
And scroll.
Okay. It's only 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Greetings. We're going to go over several aspects of the wiki hyperglossary here, as with respect to it introducing me to cheminformatics. So I have a web page, and I want to get some further information on this web page. So what I can do is I have two options. I can either paste the URL or paste text in. I'll do both of them. Here I'm going to paste in some text. I click submit, and it parses this web page against our server. And if a word in this web page is in this dictionary, it comes up. So I can click on the word entropy, and the idea here is to provide background information on a document to enhance reading comprehension if this document is in someone's digital knowledge space. So I click on entropy, and up pops the IUPAC definition. And this isn't going to help the average person on the street. Statistical thermodynamics, the definition of entropy is S equals K on a W. But what we can do is we can add into this additional material up to 4 different fields targeting different audiences. We can put into these videos.
What's going on here is we're looking down into a beaker of about 1 layer of black beans.
And the idea is that once somebody has gone through a bunch of different definitions and stuff, they can get the background knowledge that they needed to understand this document. Now, for scientists, though, we can use this in a different way. We could go to a site. Here's a site that's currently shut down by the government because we're in the federal government shutdown, and so the API site is no longer being maintained, and I might want more information on this site. So I could take this site, submit it to the hyperglossary, which I've already done here to speed things up, and it inserted new links. Now, if I click on one of these words, up pops an editor. So what I've done here is I've already clicked on carbon tetrachloride, and up pops a definition, but I've got additional tabs. So for example, I can take this molecule, and what I've done is I've associated an INCHI, an International Chemical Identifier, with the molecule in the database, and that is interacting with an API, web API at ChemSpider. This will bring back information on this, such as boiling points, freezing points. I can obtain spectra, etc. I can pull up a 3D model. Now I'm interacting with the Model 360 database API, and I can pull in a spectra. This is an educational database. It's got things where you can set up vibrational modes and stuff accordingly. A very interesting thing I can do is I can bring up a 2D structure editor. Okay, and what I had done a minute ago is I had taken the chloroform and edited it, and carbon tetrachloride, and edited it into chloroform, and I could get information on the molecule I just made. So I could go over here, I could add a methyl group to this. Click here. Now I send off a query. Up pops a new tab. If I click on the tab, we're now going to the ChemSpider database. We click the thumbnail, and I've got information on 1,1,1-trichloroethane. And this is what I'm calling a semantic, molecular editor-enabled semantic framework. Thank you.
Okay, now how do I get back to my slides?
I'll do that.
And how much time do I have?
You have exactly 2 minutes.
2 minutes. Okay, I can do this in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Okay, so very quickly, here is a...
I would like to thank Javier Garcia Martinez for this opportunity to remotely present.
Okay. So that you just saw before we submitted. This is after we submitted. Here you saw how we could input multimedia definitions with the words in the document. The idea was you could get enough information within this document to understand the document without having to go and browse off to other documents, and hopefully be able to understand an expert level document. We could contact databases, we could bring up molecular editors and connect these all to the words and have what I'm calling a molecular editor enabled semantic framework, where you can be reading about a molecule, question what you read, get published information on the molecule you read, change the molecule into another molecule, get published information on the molecule that you created, all without ever leaving the paper that you're reading. And then, of course, can we get different learner societies to contribute glossaries so that you could and if you look at many societies are using publications as a revenue source. Universities are cutting subscriptions right and left due to budget crises. And there's very much interest. In my dream is that when you go onto a search engine, you might have a choose glossary option. And maybe it could even suggest a glossary if you're clueless as to the domain of the article you're in. And of course, literacy is considered a fundamental human right, and it's an important topic. Thank you.
That was very fast. Thank you. Questions?
Bob?
Well, one of the very interesting things, 30 years ago, was some work that was done on work 30 years. One is it was red and now it went to green. All right. Was work that was done on the prerequisite structure of a relatively structured subject matter like yours. And I wondered if you've done anything more than definitions in that sense.
I'm not sure I totally understand your question.
Well, there are processes that need to be understood that go beyond definitions, for example. Methodologies.
Sure. There's a tremendous amount of stuff in cheminformatics going on, for example, predicting chemical products and reactions and ways of representing those. But what we were trying to do was connect text. In essence, what I was visualizing this was connecting the Gutenberg era domain of printed text to database text and where that can go. I'm not.
I can
Yes, yes, that's why I'm here, hopefully. Other questions?
Let me just fiddle with this while you talk to me.
Okay.
You have another minute or two. There's got to be some more questions. Come on, Kenan.
Cannon?
Sure, thanks. So I know Anthony Williams had started ChemSpider as sort
Yes.
of a private enterprise, and then the Royal Society bought it. And you were talking about migrating from, I think it was ACS was funding. So what are the dynamics for where these ideas and movements are, where the energy is, where the funding is, and kind of what you see growing out of the vision that you have and that the field as a whole has? Like how is that working?
Actually, tomorrow, Delmar Larson will be here, who is involved with the STEM Wiki. And one of the things we have to do is move this beyond chemistry into other domains. So that's our biggest challenge. From the chemistry perspective, Tony's no longer with RSC, he's with the EPA, and we've started working more with PubChem and using their stuff. Which is where we're moving. Everything you're looking at here is 4 to 5 years old, and we've been trying to move forward, but you hit it on the dot. I teach in a college, and I have classes to teach, and funding is an issue.